Hey guys, this is Rob Stanson with TISP Research and Development. Um, I got I redid my helmet, and I want to show you guys. Uh, Now, I'm in pretty heavy duty with these perps. I mean, nobody's ever broken through or broken out, but I'm following Dante's law, and I mean Dante's hell, and the Bible, and when it says, and God's never, God of Moses has never been so straight up with parables and whatnot, but he was straight up. He said, it said, put on God's armor, you know, or the armor of God, you know. And back in the ancient times, they had gods, and they had armor during the the what was it it's like the great god wars back in the ancient time. I don't know what it consists of, but it has to be consisting of probably the demigods against the ones with more power or whatnot, the bird people. Uh, Clash of the Titans, yeah, that's what it's called. Well, this is my helmet. It's Frankenstein. It's been upgraded. Freaking, I got the brass innard, and I believe I have another, I think, two layers. Yeah, there's a layer that they both been made into like lotus flowers. I cut them into it, and then I folded them into a lotus flower by blacksmithing, and then I did the same thing, and and put the brass and the moo metal together to form it, and I welded maybe then I welded Frankenstein's outer shell. That's 14 gauge moo metal, and below it's, I think it's another 14 gauge, and then probably like a 20 gauge of the brass, and it's quite heavy. That's why I got the sideburns, because it keeps the helmet balanced. But I started noticing when they were hammering me in the back of my head, because they're like, "We're gonna mind control you, get you to mess up this and that here and there, you know." And they started putting. I could tell they were trying to get in my brain, and it was just kind of like, And when it tells you, listen to me, you don't. He's like, I ain't listening. Ain't nobody listening to you. And you just don't listen to them. That's a form of getting you in their trance, getting you to start doing things what they tell you to do. Well, and you no matter what, you don't listen to them. You don't do it, because you guys gotta understand. We have this frequency that puts us out like others, and come on, look what they did to Jesus Christ. Same people, Beelzebub and freaking and Legion. It's the same people, and they're trying to do it again. But these people, they got these spirits that are probably from CERN, from opening up the portals, or whatever, from evil spirits that come through from the underworld. But these people seem like they're possessed. I think they are. All I want to do is enslave and torture people. But here's what I did. See, I got my third eye right there. I'm wide open, and my connection's past them now. And look what I had to do, because they're pounding the back of my head so much. I put these 18-pound pull magnets on there. Did a little mohawk, and this is the back part where they hit, and they're focusing, because it's just, they're trying to get into me, and slow down my brain, and I got to get the blood moving and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, it's down to the wire, and I mean, honest to God, that's why we have back in the days witches, and you'd figure out things to, because they used earth and stuff like that, and they got rid of witches and then brought in doctors, And then, but yeah, it is quite heavy. But it's pretty nice because even I have buttons right here, snaps, to where I can put my Moon Metal mask on, and then that covers me up right there, and because they jam down frequencies down here. Here's another one that I built. I tell you, the titanium, it whisks off the energy, and I'll put these on. It's got magnets on it, and look at it. It's just like a hat. I could be Dick Tracy or freaking. But anyways, but here's what I'm really happy about. This thing's got brass in it, and it's got titanium on the outside. Because I could feel them earlier today, really jacking me up, because they get down there to give you a heart palpitation as well, and they get down there to, and next thing, when you get up and you start burping, that's because they're jamming frequencies down your throat. And if you're not in an elevation of 2,000 and over, and you're a TI, you should think about moving to higher ground. You guys can understand the pressures of the energy they're pushing on us, and as well as the chemtrails. It just puts extra pressure. And when you're at sea level, that's a lot more pressure. And the higher you go up, the less pressure you're in, and more able to feel good in the brain. Because sometimes I can only stay here like 3 days down here by the ocean, and then anything after 3 days, I'm shooting out to higher elevation. Once I hit about 2,000 freaking feet, my character opens up. I open up a lot more. It just feels like my bottle just keeps on bottling in, because of pressure. But yeah, it's titanium, and it's riveted by pure brass rivets. I just drilled holes, and see, I got the brass underneath and stuff. Looks like a dog collar. And then I drilled this out, and I bought these brass little lock pins right here, and then I mean, it looks like a dog collar, yeah, but I tell you what, it's better than X-ray X-ray cloth, or the 0.75 or 0.50, with the blue and stuff like that. It looked like I just stole it from the doctors and stuff like that. That stuff doesn't really work. And what I've learned through all my shielding techniques and tests and everything. I mean, I tried that. I didn't like it. I tried the cap with the magnets on it, and I didn't really like it. It was uncomfortable, and it only served the purpose to me is be able to drive down the highway, because I didn't have a Moon Metal cap. That was, that's after that was before I started making the Moon Metal cap, is when I had the magnet cap. And I liked it for driving. It really helped. It really kept me focused on driving and not them. And the brain attacks, because I could tell they were trying to hit it. And then and then I graduated up, and I started making Moon Metal hats and stuff like that. And then and I would like to try to utilize the titanium into a helmet, but because the energy just whisks off. Like I can see it, feel the pressure. I just pop that in there like that, and it stays its shape and form all the time. So you can hammer this, and it takes a while to hammer, and you got to get it just right, just to get it to curve around and stuff like that. And it's a rough work, because titanium's, no matter how thick it is, it's still strong. I want to make titanium masks, but I got to order another sheet, and they're kind of expensive, and it's testing. I'm up to a point where, yes, I use titanium underneath in my armor, so my armor's complete. Because I mean, I like things perfect. I like the feeling of perfection, because you make perfection. Because literally, I mean, that's God and Moses saying, put on the armor. And what does that tell you? It tells you, he trusts in me to build the right and perfect armor, and people are supposed to be aligned, with me, because that Bible was based on for us TIs, because he had our back, and he was looking out for us. It wasn't written for Christians and stuff. They can believe whatever they want, but if you can't read the Bible in its coded way, and how the words rise up in your brain. Because once you read it, it like sears in your brain, and things come up when you need it to look out for, and it just opens up. I don't need to know verses or anything. It's just the Bible's a part of me. That's why they call it the Living Bible. But I put a whole thing on Read It. You might want to check it out. It's on my Facebook, Robert Stanson. I left a Read It thing on there. Uh, so far, people like it. It's pretty much the bottom line of what's really going on, and the excuse me the deception. I mean, how decepted it really gets. I mean, it gets really bad where none of you would have ever thought of it. Everybody was going this way and that way. It's just only because I know about propaganda, and propaganda always puts it on someone else, that really is nowhere close to who it is, and I'm telling you, when I say that Nightingale security is because the drones up higher than the Nightingale security drones with the cameras and stuff are drones above it, and those drones want to see what's going on too, so they use that blue light to see. They see down, pan down with they're all seeing eye, and then it causes a reflection of the drones below it, and I mean, Nightingale security has that emblem on top of its drone, and the way security drones are, they have their own type of security drones, own personal ones. And so this one looks like a bread box or like a Subway, sandwich and stuff like that with an all seeing eye in the back and the propellers. There's only Nightingale security only has one type of drone, and they're leasable. So that tells me they either leased it, and I don't think they're part of Homeland Security because they were given an award by the Border Patrol, for Homeland Security, Border Patrol, the best security drones. But see, that's just like an award, but not necessarily being part of Homeland Security. You know what I'm saying? And it just seems, the funny thing with me is that these stars are mimicking the original stars above. That's why things are messed up and our destinies are not coming through, and everything's just boring and stuff like that, because man has actually utilized the original stars, the original freaking gods or whatever the heck, the stars that take us to our destinies, and we're getting clogged, and it's been diluted through man, and they're things of control. And see, they used the stars back in Egypt in the ancient times, energy to come down in the sandstone. And that sandstone novelist, and that's directly under, they would get, the frequency going through and the power to enlighten, their place and actually pick up light. That's on the writing on the wall. So why wouldn't they do the same thing with drones, and mimic the stars? Because I seen Orion's belt, and it's missing two legs. Something's missing on it. I'm like, I'm looking at the stars. I'm like, something's kind of awkward, because. And then they decide to change it to the Big Dipper. I was like, no. And it's way off. It's way off, And I'm like, no, that's, because even my mom walked out there. She's staring at it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Star of David, And I'm like, Mom, that's a drone. And she's like, get inside and hide. Those drones are gonna fall. They're gonna hit you. I was like, they're supposed to, but they freaking pumped out chemtrails so much to block the enlightenment coming to us. I got a little bit of it on the first. That's when I felt it. It was like, woof. I was like, oh, and then knowledge came through in my head, pop, 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 and it was so much greater. And they tried to cut us off from that, and they cut us off from the death, and then and the sun rising 3 days after. That was the resurrection, and we're supposed to be able to see the heavens open up from the skies and the stars and the planets. In ancient time, they were able to see all this. You know, not now, because they hide it all. They hide it all. You know, it's for a reason. You know, they don't want us to have that enlightenment. They don't want us to see things like, oh wow, that was based. The Bible was based on that, huh? You know, that sure darn thing. Yeah, it was. You know, and then they twisted it, and they made it, and then they're trying to become this power. I mean, that's why they got the pyramid, you know, on the dollar bill with the all-seeing eye, because on the top of pyramids, there's no tip, you know, because the eye used to sit there. That was back in Egypt times though. But see, they're stealing ancient history and using it and saying, well, if they enslaved the world then, then we can enslave the world now through mind control. You know, back then it was a dealing, between these chosen people that were enlightened, and so they made a pact to use the king or whatever and call them, and so that way he'll be a living God. And of course, if you're going to be a living God, you're going to like take the deal, but didn't see that literally his life is no longer his. As soon as that king or pharaoh died, he goes to this tomb and all this gold goes on, and this so-called spirit would leave, or this god would leave out of his head, taking over the pineal gland, but is actually the all-seeing eye. It takes our all-seeing eye and our pineal gland, and it projects images as if it's the eye in there, and what it does, it steals your crown, and it blocks you from your crown, so you could be able to freaking be enlightened, and then it becomes a middleman, and it steals that, and it's the evil, and then it cuts you off, but I'm able to go around it and then have understanding. Ever since the equinox came through and it finally got my hit from it on the first, and then I was like, yes, this is what I needed, because he can't block it anymore, and they can't control me. They can't freaking get into my head. They can't do any of that no more. And I knew when I passed this at a 3 year mark, and it's been a blessing. But the thing is I'm all alone and stuff, and everybody's supposed to listen to me. Everybody's supposed to freaking put on the armor of God, and literally, I mean, we have to be, the tribes have to be united. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, just read the Bible and get a hint, because that's just a part of it, and literally, I don't know everything and all of it, but I sure do got this feeling like I know what's going on and I know what I'm doing. I mean, and everybody's on these rabbit holes and stuff like that, but I know who it is. I mean, these people who live right where I'm at right now, like Oceanside, San Diego. You know what I'm saying? And literally, they're manipulating it through ham radio and freaking frequencies, and I mean, that's why our internet's down. But anyways, I don't want to get too deep in that, but I know what's going on, and they got our government, the Democrats, on their knees. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about them, but it's just you see, when you see pain and you see people freaking getting jacked up, they're gonna follow what's strongest, because they think, I mean, they can't figure it out and know who it is, and it's like, hello, it's over your head all the time, because those same constellations are able to be seen all around the world, right? So guess what? We've all got the same perps, same people, different actors, same people, same drones, because they mimic the stars. That's why they cover it all up. There you go, people. And those people were, they go to places where it's location, location, location. San Diego, White House, perfect weather, perfect for them to harbor up. And the ocean breeze will blow the chemtrails away, and all the major cities will get all the chemtrails. I mean, that's why. What was it? The freaking the sea, that sea place that's underneath the ocean now or whatever. Darn it, I can tip my tongue, but I'm running out of time. But anyways, that's why it was underneath the sea, because they wind up dumping all them glaciers from pumping out all them chemtrails, and then those glaciers created the Black Sea. And it's just, you got to know your history and learn it and understand it and see what's going on today, and then mix it and figure it out and put it all together, and then it meshes. It's easy stuff. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. And the first thing I did is I went through my history as like I had amnesia or something. It's like I've done this before. Something has happened before, because if it's been done before and you're rolling, because you're rolling off your DNA of your roots. We're the roots. That's the tree. And when you're cutting the roots, the tree will fall. And that's straight up, people. And that's what these people are doing. They think they can cut the roots. They're cutting themselves off because, in the Bible, it's a curse to open up the freaking, people's pineal gland to biting in our apple, for forbidden good and evil in people. And they bit into our brains and everybody. So that's why they want to depopulate. And they're getting these politicians and the United Nations to do it for them, because they want to calm their brains down. Because they're in everybody's shit. Just like little tweakers going, I got to see whatever they're doing. And they hit the higher frequencies. And then once they freaking hate someone, then they freaking try to kill them, and they put them as TIs. And I can't believe freaking Obama and freaking Bush and freaking even freaking all of them, are like, oh yeah, I mean, Gowdy was like, well, so TI has to actually get petitions to get off the target list and stuff. But how do you know your targets? Just because they say so? Just because they say so? I didn't get no paperwork. I didn't get no handbook of the guide to your targeting, and I mean, there's no handbook. I didn't get no warrant. I didn't get no freaking certificate. I didn't get no freaking, like blacklist or freaking anything shown on anything. No terrorist watch, none of that. What's really going on? Are they just picking people out of the hat because they don't like them, because there is no such thing as terrorists? But them, they're the ones that cause it all. They're the ones that cause all the freaking craziness and with the politicians and everything. Acting like children. But nobody seems to want to grow up. Because why? These younger generations are pulling it. I guarantee they're Hip Hop Anonymous. The largest freaking syndicate that went after some heavy churches, different things like that. Who else would they hire? You know what I mean? A bunch of hackers. A bunch of computer guys. You know what I mean? Hackers, Revenge for Hire. Revenge for Hire is one of their babies. See if I was to make a little bit of money off of revenge, and they'll just target people, put it all together, and get people to freaking target them, and they'll put them, locked in the computer, to jump, to bite in the apple of that person they hate and want revenge after, and then they're stuck on there, trying to torture that person, trying to kill him. Is to kill him, and really you're supposed to go after the other guy. But we can't play that in this civilization, because what they'll do is the little camera guy up there, here, we go, we'll call the police on you, and then next and they'll get you before you get them, and they'll kill you in prison. It's just they'll get your heart going. That's what they did to a lot of those serial killers and different people. And later on down the line, it depends what they like. They'll give them a heart attack right there in prison. If you wind up in jail, go underneath the bunk. Lay your ass on the concrete, because it's grounded. Don't lay on the bunk, because that right there, weaponized. Lay on the concrete. At the bottom, it might be tight, but you'll live a lot longer. And plus, the metal will be deterrent for the energy to hit the freaking bunk, and not the freaking, and whatever hits you will go to the ground, in the ground, from the concrete and the rebar running all together into Mother Earth. So FYI. And if you're living in a car, get some copper and then grind off or drill a hole, put some copper and a copper stake, and stake it into the ground in 4 points. 4 points, you get that whole truck, car, whatever grounded, and you can sleep in your camper shell. And you just unravel it. You'll tie it up in the frame. You make sure you tie it to the frame, and then hammer it inside the dirt. And in the front, behind the tires, not in front of the tires, because it sucks in, pa pa pa, and next thing you get a pole stuck in your body. I gotta go 25 minutes. I just want to show you my new hat and what I had to do for the extensive increase of energy that I have to take on, and I have to take on a lot. And I'm telling you, it energizes me because I built my shielding and armor, freaking healing and shielding, every bit of it, healing and shielding, not just shielding. You know, Faraday cage just may block you just for that area, but it's not built for this type of war. It's directed energy is way more than energy paint's gonna do for you. A piece of cloth, a piece of freaking beanie or whatever, it's not gonna do anything for you. A baseball cap or some stupid ear that sends a tone bone conduction or whatever. No, these are solid radiation glasses, and the shit's out of my head. They can't even read my thoughts anymore. They can't even read them. I could turn off my head and have no mind. My glasses, they work perfect. I customized these ones. Helmet, everything. And everything works. What everybody requested, and I brought it to you. I'm trying to start that website, but boys and girls, we might have to skip town because it's getting weird out in America. TISP, Research Development, Pace.